Hey, you like jazz?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Look, I'm a simple man. You put a warning in front of your episode and I pay attention. It's very enticing. Alright, yes, they brought back the bananas, but for good reason. There's a lot that I love about Jean's flashback. Technical merits are very strong. Shout out to the lighting team. Love you guys. The sound design of the rewind sequence is wonderful, and the musical score is incorporated very well. The imagery of time literally growing on trees is cute and very fitting for this world. I appreciate the continuity of the characters falling in the sky. If you somehow didn't catch it on your first watch, there they are. Look at them go. I was really impressed by what Miles has been doing with his voice. Playing an older version of the same character is really challenging, but he pulled it off flawlessly in my opinion.
And when did you get so mature?
What? No! Jean 2.0 works extremely well as the mentor character, although I'd argue his most valuable contribution to the script is the conflict he introduces. Up to this point, the curious cat was purely a guide, but Jean's grudge against him creates a push and pull dynamic that I did not know that I needed. The moral ambiguity of the cat is also really cool. I don't get the sense that he deliberately wants to deceive people or that he's inherently evil. To him, not being able to ascend is the worst fate someone can suffer. Ruby has a bit of a history of compartmentalizing its morally gray characters into good and evil boxes, but I'm holding out hope that they'll keep the cat as a strictly neutral entity. It's already been established that the weather in the Ever After shifts around depending on the mental state of its inhabitants, but they take it a step even further with the Punderstorm, and I love it. Yes, this non-Euclidean space that reflects your inner struggle is a weather condition. This idea is, say it with me now, creative. I'm gonna wear that word out, I swear. The brief glimpse of summer was great. Weiss getting a subtle anime despair eyeshadow was cool, and this is the first time she's witnessing the fall of Atlas. That might be an interesting detail to keep on the back burner. They also reincorporated the motif from the score that played when Atlas fell, which is a nice touch. I quite like the illustrated retelling of Alex's real journey. I wasn't entirely sure how I felt about the book as a plot device in the first few chapters. It just felt like an excuse for exposition to me. But I've come around to the opinion that the girl who fell through the world might be one of the smartest plot devices they've ever introduced. Because the main cast have a book to reference, they always have a goal and a sense of direction, so they never wander around aimlessly. But as they try to replicate Alex's journey beat by beat, they slowly realize just how much of the book was inaccurate or an outright lie and run into obstacles along the way. Alright, I've been beating around the bush long enough. Yes, after all the waiting, all the speculation as to when it was going to happen, they finally did it. They gave Ruby her weapon back. Okay, but for real, I'm just gonna say it. I thought the Bumblebee Bridge scene was terrific. I love the visual design of the environment and how it shifts around to reflect their mental state. The literary metaphor of the bridge is simple yet elegant. The purple and yellow blending together in the middle to form a perfect sunset gradient is immensely satisfying to my eyeballs. Helped in no small part by the lighting. Drat, my one weakness. And to top it all off, Barbara and Aaron give perhaps the most heartfelt vocal performances I've ever heard from them. The whole thing was some good old Parmesan cheese for sure, but I found it extremely tender, and it successfully made me feel warm and fuzzy inside. I'm just happy they finally did it, man. Bravo. This transition back to the Ever After sounds incredible. They did not need to go that hard for the transition, but it's all the better for it. Shout out to the sound team, you're cool too. Now, this scene is interesting. Ruby's had this aura of mystery about her for the past few chapters. For the first time in years, we simply have no idea what's going on in that little head of hers. Jean and Weiss are happy for these two, but Ruby doesn't really seem to feel much of anything. She's given back her weapon as well, which you'd think would make her happy, but... Ruby? My reading of this moment is that Ruby's gotten rather comfortable at the prospect of leaving her responsibilities behind, but seeing her weapon again has the burden flooding back to her all at once. Everywhere she goes, she's reassured that she really doesn't have to continue fighting. An oddly comforting blacksmith tells her she can set her burden down and choose any weapon she likes. She hears herself saying that she can do whatever she wants, be whoever she wants. She doesn't even have to be Ruby Rose, but in order to do that, she would need to reach the tree and ascend, effectively erasing the person she is now. And most curiously of all, Ruby seems to be genuinely considering it. As has been the case for the past few weeks, Ruby's continued to be one of the most fascinating characters in the volume, and the one I'm looking forward to seeing the most in future episodes. And to top it all off, they ended the chapter on her closing the box. Yes! Chef's kiss. That is how you do it. Okay, I understand it's dramatic, but could you please cut it out with the black screens? It is not my favorite editing choice. I prefer to see things. And on the subject of seeing things, as much as I enjoyed the retelling of Alex and Lewis's adventures in Undertale, I think it would have been cool to see some of those events play out from Jean's perspective. It doesn't ruin the scene, mind you, but it does leave Chapter 6 feeling like something of an info dump episode. I thought this gag was hilarious, but when Weiss landed on her back, I felt it was a little strange that her voice didn't sound in any way winded or strained.
Okay, I asked for that.
I mean, like, all right, I asked for that. You know what I mean? I don't know what I mean. So yeah, they've most definitely kept the momentum going because Chapter 6 was really very good. I know positivity isn't as interesting or as funny as complaining, but I'm not gonna apologize for it. Volume 9's been a jolly good time for me so far. My only real concern at this point is whether or not the third act will be rushed, since we've only got 4 chapters to tell the rest of the story. But if the previous few chapters are anything to go by, they seem more than capable of squeezing this narrative into a short runtime. Well, I guess we'll find out together. Catch you later.